My dad is about to reach his next Parkrun milestone of 250 runs, and I want to make a banner for my kids to wave at the finish, but also it needs to be weatherproof because we're in the middle of winter. And looking at the materials required, I decided that if I based it on a blanket, then he could keep it afterwards and have a nice warm blanket. The key material for this project is this heat and bond interfacing, which allows us to iron together bits of fabric at a sufficiently low temperature that it won't melt the polyester of the blanket. I've made sure all of my characters for this project are smaller than A4, so I could print them out, laminate them, and then trim them to make templates. Because of the duplication in my lettering, there's actually not very many of them. Using my templates, I'm drawing the shapes backwards on the back of the interfacing. That will then be ironed onto the face fabric, which makes it easier to cut the letters out from the face fabric without it fraying. We can then peel the back of the interfacing and iron it a second time to attach it to the blanket. This will tack it in place for the sewing. So the letters have been ironed and then trimmed and then peeled, and they're now a flexible piece of face fabric with adhesive on the back that can be heat activated again. We've pinned the letters in place and now we'll iron them to tack them in place for sewing. All of the fabrics involved here say do not iron, so I'm trying to be very gentle here with a medium iron. I'm using a cotton tea towel to make sure nothing gets stuck to each other and to try and distribute the heat. And I'm trying to apply sections to tack the edges down before removing the pins and then going over it again, checking it to make sure it's not getting too hot all the time. Now, in the world of man sheds, I don't think the sewing machine gets enough love. I think this tool is incredibly versatile, and fabric is such an accessible material, allowing you to make loads of useful things. I would love to see more fabric projects coming out of the man sheds. I am not a sewing machine expert myself, so I got some advice from my wife on the setup for this, to find the right size zigzag stitch to stitch across from the face fabric onto the blanket to give it a nice tight edge. This was also the point when she asked if I really was planning to sew around the outline of all of the letters in my rather elaborate design. We also established that there's no standard way of knowing how much cotton of the right colour you have on your reel, which is something I feel we could improve. Now, it's not a work of art, but it's a perfectly acceptable banner that I think my dad will love, and he'll be able to keep it afterwards, which is better than using waterproof materials and then putting it straight in landfill. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.